What is poppin', y'all? Welcome back to another YouTube video. Today we're taking a look at another anime review. In this anime, we are doing some LEGO Customs on, so do stay tuned for that over the next couple of days. However, it is a Netflix anime called Delicious in the Dungeon. It's been something that I've wanted to watch for a while now, but I have had to wait for the weekly episodes to drop. All 24 episodes are out now, so you can go watch this for yourself. And I'm going to be honest, I think it is a really good anime. It started off very slow, but we'll get into that all in a bit. This is a manga which was adapted into an anime. It's on Crunchyroll, it's on Netflix, and it does have a sub and dub variation, so you can choose which one you want to watch. I'm going to be honest, I can't read that well, so I will be reviewing the dub. Storyline doesn't change, it's just the voice acting, and there's a lot of voice actors in that segment of the video that will change based on which one you watch. But I do struggle with reading, so that's why I watch dub. Sacrifice me in the comments to the sub gods if you really want to, but I'm more of a dub person anyway. So, Delicious in the Dungeon. It is an 8.4 out of 10 on my anime list, and it has been greenlit for a season 2. However, season 1 is a group of adventurers travel to a cursed kingdom, cooking up a storm along the way. However, as supplies quickly begin to run out, the adventure rests that they will have to find their own food in the dungeon. So, how the first episode actually starts is with our main character, our main Longlegs, our tall guy, our tall man, our human character, and his sister are fighting a dragon, and the sister gets eaten and sends them all out of the dungeon to keep them safe. However, they all head straight back into the dungeon. Well, two of them. The half-foot and the elf, they head back into the dungeon to obviously try and find her. They can't afford new weapons, they can't afford anything because they're poor, and they meet up with a little dwarf who is ready to show them how to cook everything because they cooked a mushroom wrong. So he joins their crew, and the next 6 episodes are just them traveling through the dungeon, trying out new foods, and that's pretty much it. It is just the same. Monster appears, they struggle to defeat it, they kill it, they eat it, move on. Find a monster, struggle to defeat it, struggle to figure out what it is, they defeat it, they eat it. Whoop-de-doo. It's very samey for the next 6 episodes. However, when they do find the dragon, they manage to kill it, and that is a pretty cool 3-episode spectacle. Just watching them fight this dragon is really cool. We then have them sort of resurrect the sister, using dark magic, and she turns evil, runs away, and turns into a giant dragon chicken bird creature, harpy monster, which is being controlled by a dark elf who is ruling this dungeon and taking control. We then have 2 members from the old squad come and help them out. It is a red-headed dwarf who sort of is money-driven, and then a samurai who is love-driven. They all come, they all die, they all get resurrected, and they all go their separate ways. Some of them tried to stop the Western elves from coming in and destroying the dungeon, closing it, and killing our main characters who are still inside. As they continue, they meet with a cat girl, the average anime cat girl that's just here, and she was with the samurai, but they was abandoned, and now they have joined up forces with our main gang. And I'm gonna be honest, she's my favorite character. She's very cool, and I like her. But she's very aggressive and negative all the time, which is her most negative quality, I will admit. But she's learning to get better, and that's what I like about her. We then have them traveling down, and they end up going on this sort of monorail down deeper into the dungeon to find their sister once more. And they decide that they're going to eat the dragon part of her. And that's where the season ends. So, animation is where I want to start. It's always where I want to start with like shows like this. And I'm going to be honest, it felt very cartoony at points and very sort of goofy and silly, but I kind of like that because they sort of get to experiment, get to play around with the animation, try different styles, see what works, see what doesn't, and just really have fun with it. And that's really what anime is about, having fun, having a good time whilst telling a compelling story. And the story for the first 6 episodes, where they were just walking through the dungeon, eating monsters, felt very repetitive, very boring, and very slow. However, once the story started to pick up and they found the sister, that's when it got more interesting, and I got more invested and more intertwined with the characters, and really started to care for their feelings and how they were like acting and what was happening. The first 6 episodes, I'm going to admit, were the most boring of the bunch, where it was a very repetitive, sort of mathematical, very formulate 6 episodes, and I was mainly on my phone because it did follow the same patterns of find monster, eat monster, find monster, eat monster, get deeper in the dungeon. Like every single floor had a monster which they had to work a way around fighting, and then had to, you know, work a way around eating it as well, which always fell into the stereotypes of the elf and the half-foot not wanting to eat it, where the human and the dwarf did. The other two ended up eating it, and it was delicious. They had a great time. So it was very formulaic. They reused the same jokes where the elf girl didn't want to eat it, and she ended up eating it and loving it. The half-foot didn't want to eat it, but ended up eating it and loving it. Those two were very negative, and they have their own stories, and we get to sort of explore each character and their backstories individually throughout the season and the series, which I do like. I like getting to find out a little bit of backstory here and there, because it does sort of go against the character arcs of like, oh, if we get too much backstory, they're going to kill him off. So getting little bits of backstory here and there is really good, and it does fill you with a little bit of confidence, and it does put you in a little bit of security, because it does make that your character is going to survive. Your favorite character, your side character isn't going to die and have a bad time. So it is just very reassuring when they do sort of drip feed you the backstory information. And I like that as well, because it makes it more engaging and more interesting to watch, because you got to keep an eye out, keep watching for these like little lore drops, these little hidden details, these little hidden secrets, and they're very good at sort of implementing the story through how they act and how they sort of work. One of my favorite episodes is the Mimic episode, where they're working out which one's which, and the clever way of how they work it out is really interesting, because it does call back to each character's individual episodes in the past, which obviously, if you wasn't watching close enough, you wouldn't really pick up on it. It's like a passing comment, and I felt really smart in getting the half-foot right. He's the only one that I got right, but I still felt proud in getting that one right, just by where he was sitting. I was very accomplished. The half-foot is one of my favorite characters, so, you got to give me credit where credit's due. But, yeah, voice acting. The voice acting is bad for the elf. I didn't like the elf's voice actor. It was very squeaky, and, I don't know. I'm not trying to, like, be negative against the person, but I do feel like they're putting on a voice, and that voice that they're doing just isn't very good, and it was really annoying to have to listen to all the time, because obviously the elf is one of the main characters. However, the other characters were really nice. I liked the dwarf's voice. He had like a really nice and soothing voice. It was really nice to listen to, and it was quite a big contrast compared to the others. Obviously, my favorite character is the cat girl, followed up by the half-foot, and my reasons for liking them is their character designs are really cool, and their stories are really interesting. I just think that the half-foot is a real big badass. He doesn't fight, and he doesn't have to, but he's smart with lockpicking, he's smart with, like, sort of getting past traps, and I just think that's really smart, really clever, and really interesting, just with how he can sort of manage all that and manage to survive in the dungeon as well. The reason why I like the cat girl is just seeing her change throughout the series and seeing her character develop from going from this moody cat that doesn't want to do anything, the stereotypical cat that's like, no, I don't like this, I'm not doing this, I don't want to do that, leave me alone, fuck off, I'll do it on my own, to being part of the team and accepting stuff and sort of learning how to manage and do things that you don't want to do for the good of the group and doing stuff that you don't want to do for the good of yourself. I just like the character development, the character growth, and I got bored hearing some of the same jokes from the dwarf and the human. They were both constantly going about, oh, how would this taste? Oh, let's see how this would taste. Oh, you're not going to eat that? Oh, I am. Let's see what this tastes like. I can't wait to see what this tastes like. It's great. Hearing that over and over again is a little bit annoying. However, that could just be an issue with the fact that I did binge it and that I watched all 24 episodes in one day, so it was all back to back to back to back. Whereas if you watch this show over the span of the 24 weeks that it did come out, maybe it wouldn't have been that sort of jarring, maybe it wouldn't have been that sort of intense or noticeable, just with sort of everyone, having that time apart, that separation from the show. Everyone is adoring this show. I've seen a load of information on it on like TikTok and Instagram, a load of fan art, a load of character drawings, and I'm gonna get in on that by making a couple of Lego customs and maybe buy a couple of figures when they do come out in the future. But it has been greenlit for a season 2, which is absolutely exciting. So it is going to be interesting because it does leave on a cliffhanger. So getting a season 2, an answer to the story, will be incredible. However, when season 2 will drop, I do not know. I hope it drops quite soon because I'm very invested in the story and I've grown to love them as much as I say I hate them and I hate their sort of stereotypical character jokes. I do actually grow fond of these characters and I am interested in what they're going to do. To say the show is called Delicious in a Dungeon, they don't really eat that many food. Like they eat like one monster per thing, one meal per episode, and that's fine with me, I'm going to be honest. I just expected them to be eating more monsters just by the title, but I'm fine with one per episode because most of it was fucking disgusting. But other than that, I hope you all enjoyed this YouTube video. I'll see you all next one. I hope you'll have an excellent day. And what I'm going to rate this anime is a 7 out of 10. Just like how Bevo would rate his Sunday dinner. Bye-bye.